tell us how you feel. How do you process your feelings? And we'd love to know like what your tips and tricks are to feel better, to process anger, fear, anxiety, whatever it is.
Hi everybody, welcome back to Let's Talk PMA, where we focus on the 4 C's of mental toughness.
Confidence in yourself and your abilities.
Control of your thoughts, feelings, and actions.
Commitment to yourself, your team, and your sport.
And challenge, to accept all challenges as opportunities, not threats.
Morning, Allie.
Hello.
How are you? Are you awake? Both had big weekends, huh?
Very big weekends.
Very big weekends.
Fun weekends. Well, you had a longer, vacation than I did.
I left on Wednesday for my life coach conference in Dallas. Came home Saturday. It's amazing. And you went and saw friends that you haven't seen for a while.
Mm-hmm.
That was awesome.
Yeah, got to see some friends and had a really great time.
Good.
Some one-on-one time with Winter, and
perfect. I'm sure you needed it.
It's hard living with your parents.
Hey now. Hard living with your kids after they've been gone for years.
No, it's not that bad, but it's hard not having your own space.
It is hard not having your own space. We recognize it too, but I think we've all done a pretty well job. Pretty good. Pretty well.
We're all pretty easy though. Like we're not really very
I think we're all like, okay, how long is this gonna last? But we're okay at the moment. Right?
It was really hard because Winter and I were just like, I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back. We were like, if we had anywhere to stay and stay on the west side, we would.
Oh, because of us?
No, we just don't like Tri-Cities that well. Not really that we don't like Tri-Cities. We like the bigger.
You like the hustle and bustle of the big.
Yeah.
More to do,
more opportunities, more people.
Not everyone in your grill. Little pug walking by. It's so funny. Yeah, I guess that's kind of really what we're talking about right now really flows into what I want to talk about today, which was feelings. My conference this weekend, our theme was all around feelings and how feelings are really, if you think about it, they run our lives. Our emotions, how we feel about things, when we push things down, when we get excited, when we feel shame, when we feel fear, all those things truly run our lives. And we don't really realize it until we break down or, we just get overly excited about something or whatever the emotion is. But 10 times out of 10, I want to say, our emotions drive our actions for sure. Like we were talking about, processing our emotions, and that really got me thinking about athletes, kids, especially younger kids, when they get so emotional. And a lot of times it has nothing to do with what's going on the court, but it has everything to do with their outside influences.
Oh, absolutely.
And they take what their parents have said, what their friends have said, whatever feelings they're going through from whatever said, and they carry it in with them. And they don't know how to leave it at the door, number one. Or if they leave it in the door, then what does that mean? That means they push it down. And they don't know how to process it until something else happens that triggers more feeling that it explodes. And a lot of kids.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say a lot of kids. If you say what's wrong, and when they say I don't know.
Yeah. It's more of a oh nothing. Mm-hmm. It's not because they know most of the time. Maybe the younger kids are the I don't knows, but most of the time it's just like oh nothing. But I watch it all the time, and most of the time it's the parents, and I'm like, you just need to give them some space.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest part. Even working at the company I work for now, it's not the same. It's individual training, but you get these kids that are super competitive and they're so upset that they're struggling, and then I've seen anywhere from these kids absolutely freaking out and having breakdowns and the parents doing nothing and just being yeah, he's like this all the time,
Mhm.
to the parents being overwhelming, like, you need to listen, you need to do this, you need to do that. And it's like, okay, let's find this happy medium where it's like, hey, you're fine. Just, hey, it's your first time here, or you're, how are you going to get better if you don't keep doing it? You know,
Right.
like, so
Yeah.
that's why, like, for coaches, we talk about coaches all the time, how important they are. And I think working at this company I work for now, I've kind of learned that, it's different because it's a different kind of environment.
Mhm.
It's more just the kids, and then the parents can come and help if they want to, or like hover. But the coaches don't help a ton, but it does make a difference, and it is important, like, that the coaches are there for those times where it's like, let me step in and let me use my tools to, like, de-escalate this
Mhm.
situation.
Right. And as coaches, we have to figure out how to get the kids to open up or get people to open up. And it's scary to process when you don't really want to feel it because you think it's going to hurt more. When I'm angry, or if I don't know, if I'm angry or upset with what my parents have said, um, I feel ashamed or I feel just hurt in general. Well, if I say why I'm hurt, I may get in trouble,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so it's a fine line, but at the same time, if they don't get out, if we don't get out what's bothering us and what's process that fear, there's so much more feelings that come on top of it.
No, absolutely.
But if we were able to let the kids, let us as adults, whatever process, whatever feeling we get through right when it happens, then think how much freer we would be. Our actions would be so much different because we'd be driving our actions from a totally different space, a totally different feeling, and maybe it would just be better.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of times, if you're angry, if you're fearful, shameful, and you have those feelings, you're not performing at your best. Those goals that you have, when you're going after those goals with those feelings, then you have a hard time because anything you do, you're piling more shame or more fear or more guilt or just not being able to perform at your best because you have these deep inner feelings of, I can't do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you and I couldn't talk like that until
Yeah.
recently. Like, it took a really long time, a lot of, especially, in high school. And I did not, I didn't talk to you about my feelings. I didn't talk to you unless it was like an extreme situation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I kept it all to myself because a lot of times if I did share, I would either get in trouble or I didn't get the support I was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's like kind of me too, is like, if I am feeling an emotion or like something extreme, and if I do want to share it, it's most of the time I'm not looking for you to pity for me. I'm not looking for you to solve my situation. I'm just looking for you to say, I understand, I get it, or like, I'm here for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what a lot of kids are looking for too. So as I've gotten older, and like, I do this in my relationship too, it's like, I just need to share my feelings. Like, this is just how I feel about it. I'm not looking for an apology. I'm not looking for any of this. I just need you to understand how I feel,
Mm-hmm.
and just take that into consideration. And we're a lot better about that now. And even things from a long time ago, we've been able to bring up and talk about and say, hey, I don't appreciate this, or
Mm-hmm.
either way, don't, you can't talk to me like that, or I need you to communicate in a different way.
Mm-hmm. I think that's where us as parents have to learn to listen. Learn to say, I hear you, I see you, I hear you. Um, and once, you know, we did that just not even too long ago. You brought up something, and I was like, Allie, I hear you, I see you, I understand what you're saying, I will work on it,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I think just that acknowledgement for both of us was like, okay, you know, I do hear you, and I'm not just saying it, I do hear you, and I will work on, trying to be
Yeah.
better. But a lot of times parents get into the role of I'm in control, I have that power because you're my child. I don't want you to make the same mistakes that I did. I want you to be better. I want you to be more, and so we kind of take a power play. And as parents,
I'm the adult.
right, or I want to live through, we live through our kids a lot of times. And if we can step back and let our kids take their own journeys and understand that you have your own journey that you have to live through, that your own mistakes, your own successes. And sometimes I can be a guide, and I can be a teacher, and I can be a shoulder to cry on, and I can be there for you at every step of the way, and I will be 100%. But I also have to let you take your own journey. And if parents can learn that and see that letting our kids take their own journeys, make their own mistakes, and just be there to guide them along those journeys when they need us, then it opens them up to being so much more confident, so much more just being able to feel their feelings, and to work through the things that they're going to go through. They're going to go through a lot, and they may go through the same things you did, hopefully not. And sometimes they're going to be above and beyond. And sometimes they're going to go through things that you never even thought they would go through.
Yeah.
And so we just can't predict, and we try to predict, we try to control the future. And I think it's time to reevaluate us as parents. I just think that we as parents need to step back a little bit and give our kids just a little bit of space to be our kids, and always be their support, um, and let them know that we'll support them always.
Mm-hmm.
And they're our kids,
Yeah.
and that's our role.
Yeah. It's really like refreshing because some like at the company I work for is a like advanced technology training facility, and there's some parents and some kids who come in, and I'm like, hey, you guys need any help or anything? And it's like, the kid will say nope, and then the parent will be like, oh no, he's just having fun. Like there are like kids that come in and they're just there to just enjoy,
Mm-hmm.
just play the games, to just do it because they enjoy it, and the
Mm-hmm.
parents are like, yeah, of course
They're
I'm gonna.
getting out. They're not playing video games.
Well, they are kind of playing video
But they're
games,
still
but
being active.
it's
Yeah.
a active video game.
Right.
But like it's really like refreshing to see those parents who are just there to, you know, let their kid just have fun, and it's like, yeah, he's just not really here to get better.
Mm-hmm.
He's not trying to be the best. He just loves playing and wants to keep playing. And so I just, that's so so cool, and like just like kind of refreshing as a coach to see, because most people who put their kids in, especially an advanced training facility, they're there to make their kid the best.
Right.
And so it's really cool, and like the selflessness of that. I was listening to a story from a close friend family, and but they were talking about the story of a family where the parents are just like extremely selfish, and there's not a single day in their lives that they couldn't just like put themselves aside, and like like a wedding day, and the whole wedding day it was about them and not about their kid. And I was like, it's just really sad. How can you not put 5 hours, not even a full 24 hours? You can't give your kid 5 hours of selflessness, of all your feelings, all your everything aside, and just let them be happy and be happy for them. And it's just like so sad. I'm like, why did you have kids if you can't, like it's so sad. And that's when you get the kids who can't or don't know how to deal with their feelings, and don't know how to deal with their emotions, and don't know how to communicate, because they've always been number two or number three to everybody else,
right,
to their family, to everyone. Like they're nothing. And so like that, and that's really hard.
Yeah.
That's
Well, and a lot of parent kid relationships are ruined. I think about my relationship with you, and I think about my relationship with Quentin, and you know, is it perfect? Absolutely not. But is it everything that I would want? Absolutely, 100%. I'm involved with you guys. Talk to you guys almost every day. I wouldn't change that for the world. And I think, gosh, there's times where I don't talk to Quentin for a week or so, and it's always like, okay, well, I need to touch base. It may not be for very long, but I understand his life. I understand he's very, very busy. I understand, but I also understand that he appreciates me, and I understand that I do have a part in
and
his
that's
life,
his personality.
and that's his personality, and I respect that. If I didn't respect that, I would be hurt, you know, and that's always learning too. I've had to learn to understand that that's his personality as well. And you and I, of course, are different because number one, we live together, but number two, we do always talk, even when you weren't here. And so we just have that different relationship. But again, we've had to come through a lot of things. I was talking this weekend about, my relationship with my kids, and I was like, Allie and I weren't, there was a point in her growing up that I didn't think I was ever going to have a relationship with her. And look where we are. I'm like, she's the best business partner I could ever have, and we are building this amazing thing, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah.
And so I can't imagine being a parent that doesn't have a relationship with their kids, and sometimes it's a choice. They don't want to, or it's too much, or they've just saturated.
I don't know how.
Yeah, they've saturated the relationship, and they just can't. And everyone has, like I said, everyone has their own journey, and that's fine. But sometimes we have to put aside our own feelings,
yeah,
about things to let others grow.
That's why I think it's so important to like be able to process those feelings and not just put them down, because you know
Carry it on.
you get parents who have been holding these feelings and of whatever feelings they may be for 20-30 years, and it's like, what did that do to your life?
Right. Well, and sometimes it carries on.
Exactly. It's like, so it's just like, I feel like when you hold a feeling down, like it becomes your personality, and then it translates. So every single time you're around someone, hello B, hello B, you don't need to be in my face though. Nope. But then you get like, when that person's around, you just like, sometimes you don't want to be around people when they, because you can just tell that they're constantly looking for that feeling. Like,
we're trying to have to always work hard to make them happy because they can't do it themselves. Yeah. So I think the biggest part of the takeaway today is, if we learn to process our feelings right away, understand, like, shame comes up a lot. If I didn't do something correctly, I feel shame. I feel regret. I feel guilty. I think for myself, that's probably the biggest thing that I've had to work on, is just that, and why, you know. And if we can learn why we feel a certain way, like if I had a client that didn't like what I had, it was complete shame. And it ended up being from a long time ago, from a job that I worked at many years ago, and it carried over for many years.
Yeah.
But once I learned, and it progressed into when I ended up having my own business, I couldn't make it my business grow because I always felt shame and I never felt proud of my work. And that's sad because I was always told I did great work. I have work all around, our town, and but I don't feel proud of it.
Yeah.
Because I never processed that shame. I never processed that guilt.
Well, how did you like learn how to process it, and like, what, because like, yeah, I know you've taken a lot of different directions to try to find a way that sticks, but I feel like now you've kind of found a way that works for you. So what did you do to be able to push past those feelings that were like pushed down and holding you back?
It was so profound. But anytime I had a job that something went wrong, I just would recognize through my whole body. And it wasn't just in my head, it was like in my chest. My chest would get heavy, my stomach would hurt, my whole body would just be like numb. And I would just be filled with shame. And I started to really recognize that and understand, like, why do I get this? Where is it coming from? Where did it come? How did I start this? And I started to just think back when it started, and I know when it did. And then I started to understand that I just had to start believing in myself and saying my affirmations, telling myself anytime it happened, this isn't, I'm better than this. It's okay to make a mistake. I'm not perfect. And I'll admit to anyone, I'm not perfect. I see the big picture. I'm not, I've had to work very hard to be detail oriented. And it's still hard, but I don't have to feel shame over that.
Yeah.
I can admit to my clients, okay, I'm going to give this to you for, proofing, because I am not detail oriented sometimes I miss it because I see the big picture. I see what I want it to look like, right? um, and so, but it's taken a long time to be okay with making mistakes.
Yeah.
And it's a constant practice of recognizing, and a constant practice of, saying I am amazing. I am amazing at what I do. Constant recognizing of it's okay to process that feeling.
Yeah. It's like that self-awareness.
Absolutely, 100%.
And I do that with like my athletes a lot. Like, for basketball, when on their shots, it's like, okay, when you shoot your shot perfectly, there's a feeling. There's a feeling. Once you're aware, there's a feeling. And once you become self-aware, you can, like, I know when I push, or if I didn't use my legs, or I used my thumb, or like, right, just like the little things. Like, I always know when I'm doing little things, so I know when I'm gonna miss my shot.
Right.
And so, it's that same thing. You do it with sports. You do it with, I'm sure you do it with football. You do it with track. If you off your start or whatever. But when you do something off, and it's that self-awareness. And so it's the same thing with those feelings and those emotions. Once you become self-aware, like, I know when I'm about to start feeling very anxious, and I know that the steps I need to take.
So what are the steps that you take when you start feeling anxious? That was a big thing for you.
Well, I'm still working on it. I think, honestly, my biggest thing for anxiety is, like, sometimes it sneaks up on me and I don't notice it. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh shoot, I'm like, get my social anxiety, and I get like sweaty and like weird, and it's like really bad. But my biggest thing is, if I notice it, I can calm myself back down. Just say, you're fine, like, whatever I'm starting to feel anxious about, I just reassure myself, like, you are fine. You are going to be okay. This thing is not as detrimental as you're thinking it's going to be, like, it's going to turn out way better than it's going to be. Like, that positive mental attitude, because anxiety is very negative driven. So that, like, for me, it's really just like recognizing, and then I can calm myself down from there. Obviously, every time, everything's a little bit different. So sometimes I need to take a step back. Sometimes I need to, maybe isolate myself for a little bit. Sometimes I need to just talk it out, like, with someone that I trust. So it varies. But my biggest thing is, like, when we went this weekend, we were almost there. We were probably like 5 minutes out from our location, and I was like, I'm getting anxious. I'm getting nervous. And we just talked it out. It's going to be fine. It's not that big of, like, you're going to have a good time, and, it's not going to be a big deal. So you're just talking yourself down from it. So, it's just, I think self-awareness is
100%.
Is for skills, for, your physical things, your lifestyle, for your feelings, for your thoughts. You just have to recognize. I recognize when I'm headed down a negative pathway, and I know what it's going to do to me.
Right.
So,
Well,
and you can write down like the little things, like, okay, when I thought this way, when I had this mindset, or when I started talking bad about myself, this is what happens. Okay, I'm recognizing this is happening. I'm going down this slope. Okay, I'm going to stop myself before I reach the list of all the things that could happen if I reach the end. So.
Which I think is such amazing thing. Just I know your story, of course, but how far that you've been able to take yourself from the beginning, till now. And, most people don't even know that you have major anxiety. Most people are like, what? Are you crazy? Allie's the most confident person I know.
Yeah. Most people get a very, very shocking, like, what? No, that's not true. I don't believe
You're exaggerating. You. But, but it's a very real thing. And I know that, but you've worked so hard, and we've worked so hard to help you to get that.
Yeah.
Like when it first happened, it was a long process, and going through many different things to get you where you are, which is amazing. But I think of the anger, that comes along with that, because you don't understand, and I think a lot of anger comes with, sometimes you don't know why you're angry.
Yeah.
And sometimes just saying, okay, I'm not going to feel it anymore. It's just not going to be there.
Yeah.
Or sadness. A lot of people don't want to deal with sadness or death in the family. I don't want to deal with the sadness. I don't want to deal with the breakup. I don't want to deal with what I'm feeling because it's not worth it for me.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't deal with it, what happens?
Yeah.
So it comes out. I talk to your dad about it all the time. You have to process these feelings. Nope, I don't. And then if he doesn't, what happens?
Yeah.
He ends up blowing a stack. Things that are just minor become major.
Yeah.
And so, but if we were to process them right away, get all the uncomfortable feeling out, talk about it, even though it's super uncomfortable, and even though you may cry and you may feel really hurt, then what happens when you talk it out?
Yeah.
All of a sudden there's a relief. There's that pressure isn't there anymore, and it's done. And then you're like, the heck, why didn't I just do that earlier?
No, exactly.
I could have been done with this so much earlier.
Yeah. Well, and it can go in like conversations too. Like I do that with Winter, I'll just like, we'll be talking, and then I can tell when he's like not wanting to talk about something, or like he's like frustrated, or, just kind of like I'm done kind of thing. And so I'm like, okay, instead of shutting down and just ending it, why don't you just communicate with me?
Yeah.
Let's talk this out. Then I'm not going to be frustrated, and I'm not going to be worried, and I'm not going to be all these things. And you're not going to be all those things too.
Creating more thoughts about what's going on.
Yeah, because I don't know everything that's going on, so then I start, snowballing. So, another way I was thinking too about, like, we talk a lot about like noticing your thoughts, and I think noticing your thoughts can be like probably the hardest thing to find. But another way to like notice is physical signs. Like for me, I've noticed recently, which is actually, it's a new thing that I've started doing when I get anxious, is I spin my earrings. I will like literally just sit here like this talking to someone, and I'm just like anxious, and I am like, just spinning my earrings around, shaking my legs, or, I know shaking your legs is a lot. People, pick at their nails, and no eye contact, or like, afraid to look at someone, sweating, things like, that. But, like for me, I just noticed like I spin my earrings a lot. I never did that before. It's a new like little tick I have apparently. But, like sometimes if you can notice the physical, you'll notice a physical sign before you notice the mental signs.
Right.
Because we could be in a conversation, and I'm listening to what you're saying, and I'm going like this.
Now I know.
And now you know. See, now she knows. Now, but now I know. We're in a conversation, and I'm like involved in this. I'm not thinking about what I'm thinking. I have no idea what I'm thinking. And I'm like, oh, shoot, I'm spinning my earrings.
Yeah.
So find signs. You know, you can find the little signs and then figure out how to counteract the signs. And maybe a couple words or thoughts that you can put in your head to calm you down or to bring you back to that neutral or positive state.
Right. And like you said, just recognizing what your thoughts are creating that feeling, you know, and once you have that feeling because you've thought something, and just trying to process it, recognizing it, processing, why do I have this thought about this? Why do I feel this way when I'm thinking this? What's triggering me? And trying to figure out, I mean, it could just be you're triggered from something way back in the past, right? It could be months ago, it could be years ago, it could be just an hour ago, it doesn't matter. But something has triggered that thought, something has triggered that feeling. And sometimes we don't know how to process that, how to understand that. But if you recognize it, write it down. I felt this way and I felt angry because I was thinking this when this happened.
Yeah.
Why? And I mean, we talk about the thoughts all the time and what they trigger, but now we really need to understand that if we can process those feelings, that we can go after our goals so much easier.
Yeah.
Because, you know, when I have the thought of, I don't want to go to the gym or I don't want to go for a walk because I don't want everyone in the gym looking at me. I am very self conscious at the gym. No one probably is looking at me. No one cares, right? But I have that trigger of I do not want people seeing me work out. It's just that it just is. It's just my own self consciousness.
Yeah.
You know, and I get it. But you know, once I talk it out and I get it, I'm like, oh, well, that's kind of stupid, Jessica. No one really cares. Just go to the gym and do it.
Because like last week when we went to the gym and you know we're like recording our workouts and everything, and I'm like, our first one that we ever did, we did like a finish high five, and now it's like our thing. So we finish a workout and we like run and jump and high five
in front of the whole gym.
And the last time we did it, there was like 4 people standing like right there, and we were like, okay, like, let's do it.
But then it was kind of like
funny, and nobody cares,
and no one cares, and who cares if they do? You know, we're just having fun. We're enjoying our workout. We're doing it for, you know, our listeners and our fans, and it's fun. You know, that shows our personality, which we're just have fun together, and our goofiness, I guess. But yeah, learn to just to process and
just don't be afraid to be you. I think that's a really big thing, and I think that's why a lot of times those thoughts and the anxieties and the pushing the feelings down is because you're afraid to just be who you are.
Yeah.
And that is the goal. I think that's the goal that everyone should work for, is just learn how to embrace who you are, show everybody who you are, whether that means you're a grumpy person, because some people are just naturally grumpy, or if you're just a happy person, whether you're anywhere and everywhere in between. Just embrace who you are, and every day you are kind of a different person. So just embrace it and show everybody who you are, because how can we learn to accept each other, and how can we make a world a better place if we can't be ourselves? We can't all fake and try to be like other people, you know.
No, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work, and then we all just become unhappy and take everything out on other people, and you never know who to trust.
People pleasers, but we're not pleasing anybody because we're really not pleased ourselves.
Please yourself. Instead of being a people pleaser, be a self pleaser.
Yeah, absolutely. Because if you can self please, that's not. If you can, you can.
If you can make yourself happy
too, but anyway. If you can be happy with who you are, then you make the world such a happier place. That's what I want.
That's what we mean by that.
Yes.
But you do you.
You do you, boo. It's all right. Anyway, so yeah, feel your feelings and process them. talk them out whenever you can. Feel them, understand where they're coming from, and don't let them build on top of each other. And especially those negative feelings. Your life's 50-50. You're going to be, you're going to be sad sometimes, you're going to be angry sometimes, you're going to be happy, you're going to be excited. That's what makes life whole.
Hey, it's just like an inside out.
Right.
You have all these feelings, and you have all of them for a reason. They all play a part, and they're all important.
Absolutely.
You don't have to be happy all the time. You don't have to be angry all the time. You don't have to be anything all the time. You have all your feelings, embrace them,
understand
them, and let them be.
Yeah. Move on and be the best you can be. That's what I think we should all strive for.
Yeah.
Be the best you can be.
Absolutely.
Go after your goals. Be the best you can be and make it everything you want. So. All right.
Thank you, everybody, so much for watching. Again, just, be yourself and don't be afraid to show everyone who you are, and find those triggers and be self-aware. Learn how to do it, and if you need help, feel free to DM us or comment in the comment section below.
Tell us how you feel. How do you process your feelings? And we'd love to know what your tips and tricks are to feel better, to process anger, fear, anxiety, whatever it is. Share your feelings with us. We would love to know. I'm sure others would too.
Yeah. Feel free to email us as well, or check out our website to get your workbooks. You can message us on there as well. We love to hear from all of you. We are still donating 10% of every workbook sold to the Maui Wildfire Relief and the Washington State Wildfire Relief Fund. So go get your workbooks, help us donate if you want to make some donations as well. It's all there on the website. And don't forget to like and subscribe below. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, the works. The works. We're on
We're
everything.
Everywhere. Just type in Let's Talk PMA and you'll find us.
Yeah. So thank you all again so much for watching, and we'll see you all next week.
Have a great week.